Emily Harper gripped her son's hand tightly, her heart racing as she navigated the bustling terminal of New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport with fierce determination. Her 7-year-old son, Mac, walked beside her, his small fingers nervously fidgeting with the strap of his backpack, his big brown eyes darting around in panic at the sea of people. They were headed to catch a flight back to Los Angeles after a family trip, just the two of them, as Emily's husband, David, had to stay behind for work. The terminal buzzed with loudspeaker announcements, the rumble of rolling suitcases, and the chatter of hurried travelers. Emily's chestnut hair was slightly disheveled from their race against time, but her focus remained on Mac, who has autism and often struggles with the chaos of air travel. As they joined the boarding line, Mac's anxiety spiked in the crowded space. He crouched down, refusing to move forward. Emily comforted him with a gentle but firm voice. "We're almost there, sweetheart. You're doing so great." Mac gave a small nod, his little face tense, covering his ears to block out the overwhelming noise. A sharp voice cut through Emily's thoughts. "Hey, the line's moving. Hurry up or step aside." The words came from a woman behind them. Veronica Steele, a sharply dressed 40-year-old businesswoman in a navy blazer and pencil skirt, her blonde hair pulled into a tight bun. Veronica's icy blue eyes glared at Emily, her arms crossed, one foot tapping impatiently in her high heels. "I'm sorry," Emily replied, her voice strained but polite. "This is my son. He just needs a moment." Veronica rolled her eyes dramatically, her tone dripping with impatience. "I don't care. Some of us have places to be." She stepped forward, nudging Mac's blue backpack aside with her foot. Emily felt a surge of frustration, but took a deep breath, focusing on Mac. "Just keep breathing, okay, buddy? Eh?" she whispered, gently guiding him forward as the line inched along. A nearby passenger shook their head, muttering, "Some people are so rude." Once on board, Emily led Mac to their seats, her heart sinking when she realized they weren't seated together. Mac's seat was by the window, a spot that always triggered his fear of heights, while Emily's was across the aisle. Sitting in the aisle seat next to Mac was none other than Veronica, the woman who'd snapped at them in line. Emily took a deep breath and turned to Veronica, her voice soft but hopeful. "Excuse me," she said, "would you mind switching seats so I can sit with my son? He has autism and is really scared of the window, so it would help a lot if he could have the aisle seat." Veronica let out a mocking laugh, her cold blue eyes scanning Emily with disdain. "Are you kidding? If you wanted an aisle seat, you should have boarded earlier or booked ahead. I'm not switching." Emily tried to explain, her voice pleading. "It's just that he—" But Veronica cut her off, her tone icy. "I don't care. I booked this seat for a reason." Emily's eyes welled with frustration, but before she could say more, a man across the aisle in Emily's row spoke up. It was James, a kind-looking 50-year-old with graying brown hair and a warm smile. "Ma'am, you can have my seat if you need it," James offered, his voice calm and genuine. "Really?" Emily asked, her shoulders relaxing as a wave of relief washed over her. "Are you sure?" James nodded, smiling softly. "Of course, thank you for taking care of your boy." Emily's gratitude was palpable, her voice trembling as she helped Mac move to James's seat, allowing her to sit beside her son across the aisle. "You're so kind, thank you," she said, her eyes shining with appreciation. Once settled, Mac's anxiety flared again. He clutched his head, rocking back and forth and letting out a loud cry that grew louder. Emily's heart raced as she rubbed his back, desperate to soothe him. Thinking quickly, she remembered the handheld gaming device Mac loved at home. She pulled it out, knowing its familiar sounds always calmed him instantly. The cheerful beeps and melodies filled the air as he played, his little face lighting up with a rare, relaxed smile. But Veronica, now seated next to Mac, wasn't having it. "Can't you make him stop? That noise is driving me crazy," she snapped, leaning forward with a scowl, her manicured nails tapping furiously on the armrest. Emily turned, keeping her voice steady despite rising tension. "I'm sorry. The sound is his favorite part. It's the fastest way to calm him." Veronica's eyes narrowed, her voice cutting. "I don't care. I'm not sitting here listening to that racket for 3 hours. It's giving me a headache." With that, she pressed the call button for a flight attendant. A flight attendant, a middle-aged woman named Linda, a flight attendant with a kind demeanor and a name tag on her uniform, approached. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone professional, yet warm. Veronica pointed at Mac. "Yes, you can tell this kid to turn off that video game. The noise is unbearable." Emily's heart sank as she explained, "The game is one of the only things that keeps him calm. He really struggles with flying." Linda nodded sympathetically, but glanced at Veronica, who was now dramatically rubbing her temples. "Don't! All passengers have to turn off electronics during takeoff anyway," Veronica pressed. Linda had no choice. "I'm sorry, ma'am," she said to Emily, "but she's right. All electronics need to be off during takeoff." Emily's stomach twisted as she turned to Mac, her voice gentle but firm. "Hey, buddy, I'm sorry, we can't use this right now." Mac's face crumpled, and he let out a soft, anxious moan, his hands flapping in distress. "This is ridiculous," Veronica exclaimed, her voice shrill. "Can't you control your kid?" Emily ignored her, focusing on Mac. "Hey, let's breathe together, okay? In and out, sweetheart," she said, her voice steady as she began to sing softly. "Mac is strong, Mac is brave. Mac faces challenges but never caves." The simple melody was a ritual they'd used for years to calm him, and Emily patted his back as she sang. But Veronica wasn't done. "I can't sit here if she's going to sing the whole flight. Can't you make her stop?" she demanded, turning to Linda. Linda hesitated, her expression apologetic. "I'm sorry, Ma'am. Could you please stop singing? I'm just trying to keep the peace so we can get to our destination on time." Emily nodded reluctantly, her heart aching as she turned to Mac. "What can I do for you, buddy? What do you need?" she asked softly. Mac's eyes lit up as he signed food, a gesture they used when he was too overwhelmed to speak. "It's almost lunchtime," Emily said, offering a small smile. "Want your snack?" She reached for her bag, but her smile faded when she realized Mac's backpack was missing. "Oh no," she whispered, her voice trembling with panic. She turned to Linda, who was still nearby. "I just realized my son left his backpack at the gate. I need to run back and get it for him." Linda's face grew serious. "I'm sorry, but we're about to close the doors for departure." Emily's voice cracked with desperation. "Please, he really needs it. He won't make it through the flight without it." Linda sighed, her tone empathetic but firm. "The only way we can do that is if the captain and all passengers agree, as it could cause a delay. I can ask." Emily nodded, her hands shaking. "Please." Linda's voice came over the intercom, calm and professional. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a passenger who needs to briefly deplane because her son, a child with special needs, left a bag at the gate. If everyone agrees, it'll only take a few minutes." The cabin filled with murmurs of agreement from the passengers. Veronica shot up, her face red with anger. "I absolutely object to this. I'm on my way to a critical meeting in LA, and I can't afford for this flight to be delayed." Linda turned to Emily, her expression apologetic. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but it has to be unanimous." Emily's heart sank as she looked at Mac, who was now rocking back and forth in his seat, a sign of an impending meltdown. "Fine," she said, her voice breaking, "but we'll have to get off the plane because he can't handle this without it." She gathered their things, her hands trembling as she helped Mac stand. "Come on, Mac." Linda nodded. "I can let you off, but I can't hold the plane. Please hurry." Emily nodded, her eyes brimming with tears as she rushed Mac down the aisle, whispering, "We'll be okay, sweetheart." They raced back to the gate, Emily's heart pounding as she spotted the backpack in a corner near the jetway. "We got it! We got it!" she cried, clutching it tightly. She turned to sprint back to the plane, Mac trailing behind, but when they reached the gate, her heart stopped. The jetway was closed. A gate agent approached, her face sympathetic. "I'm sorry, ma'am, your flight just left the gate. You'll need to find another way to Los Angeles." Emily's knees buckled as she sank into a chair, pulling Mac into her arms. "It's okay, buddy," she whispered, her voice shaking as she fought back tears. "We'll figure it out." But inside she felt a crushing disappointment. Today was David's birthday, and they were supposed to be home to celebrate with him. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Veronica arrived at a sleek downtown office building, feeling triumphant. She was there to finalize a major business deal with David Harper, CEO of Harper Innovations, a company she'd been pursuing for months. David, a 45-year-old man with kind eyes and a warm smile, greeted her in the conference room, a birthday balloon tied to his chair, a gift from his team. "I can't tell you how much this deal will change my life," Veronica said, her voice brimming with confidence as she shook David's hand. "I'm thrilled it's coming together." David smiled, but his expression was heavy, his fingers tapping anxiously on the table. "Someone told us it's your birthday," Veronica continued, gesturing to the balloon, "so the board and I got you this." She handed him a small gift box containing a luxury Rolex watch, but David barely glanced at it. "Is everything okay?" Veronica asked, noticing his unease. "You seem distracted." David sighed, his voice heavy with emotion. "You're right, I am distracted. I'm sorry. For the past 2 days, I've been looking forward to my wife and son coming home to celebrate my birthday with me. They were on a family trip I couldn't join because of work. The house feels so empty without them." Veronica nodded, feigning sympathy. "What happened?" David's jaw tightened. "They missed their flight." "Well, actually, according to my wife, the plane left without them because she had to run off to grab my son's backpack from the gate. My son's 7, and he has autism. So flying is really tough for him. She said a rude passenger refused to help them, and that's why the plane didn't wait. Can you believe that? What a jerk." Veronica's stomach twisted as a sinking feeling hit her, but she quickly brushed it off, forcing a weak smile. "That's awful," she said, her voice hollow. "Oh, I just remembered. You haven't signed the contract yet. Why don't we take care of that now, and I can send it to my legal team?" Before David could respond, his phone rang and he excused himself to answer. "Hey, sweetheart," he said softly, his face lighting up. On the other end, Emily's voice was warm, but weary. "Hey, we just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I'm so sorry we couldn't be there in person to celebrate. We were so excited to see you." David's expression softened. "It's okay, honey. I know it's not your fault. I booked you both a new flight. You'll be here tomorrow morning." Veronica shifted uncomfortably in her seat, pretending to review her notes. David continued, "Hold on, you should meet our new business partner. She's the CEO of their company, and you would have met her today if you hadn't missed the flight." He turned to Veronica, smiling. "Say hi to my new partner." Emily's voice came through the speaker, warm at first. "Hi, I'm so happy to—" "Wait." There was a pause, then her tone shifted, icy with recognition. "It's you?" David frowned, confused. "You two know each other." Emily's voice was steady but cold. "Yeah, this is the woman I told you about from the plane, the one who was so rude to Mac and me." David's face darkened, his jaw clenching as he looked at Veronica, who suddenly couldn't meet his eyes. "Is that so?" he said, his voice low. Emily continued, "Honey, Mac needs me, so I have to go. I'll call you back, but I think you know how I feel about this deal. She's not someone we want to work with." The line went silent, and David set the phone down, his expression a mix of disappointment and resolve. Veronica squirmed, her confidence crumbling. "I don't think I'll be signing that contract today," David said, his voice firm as he stood, leaving the contract on the table. "I trust you can see yourself out." He walked out of the room, leaving Veronica alone with her regret, the unsigned contract a stark reminder of the consequences of her actions. Back at the airport, Emily held Mac tightly, her heart heavy but hopeful. They'd get home even if it was late, and though they'd missed David's birthday, they'd soon be reunited. As for Veronica, she'd learned a hard lesson that day. Kindness matters more than any deal, and a lack of empathy can cost you everything. Sometimes the smallest acts of compassion, or the absence of them, can change the course of your life. We all face moments where we can choose kindness, don't we? But as this story shows, how we treat others, especially those who need a little extra care, can come back to us in ways we never expect. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and join our story-loving community. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you in my next story.